Welcome to my Asshole Podcast. Let's get into it. All right, without further ado, you know what we do. We get straight into the juice, man. All right, today's juicy thread is, what's the best thing you saw at a strip club? All right. It's time to see what y'all niggas be seeing in the strip club. All right, let me set this up here. Okay. We were in Vegas, got a ride from someone whose job was to drive people around to and from the club. We were ready to leave at like 3 a.m. So went outside and texted our driver that we were ready and realized his car was still there. A minute later, he walks out of the club with a Tupperware full of lasagna and says, "You can never find a microwave in these places." What the fuck? What the hell? This man, he had a Tupperware of lasagna and was like, they never have microwaves in this bitch. Like, what the fuck? What do you think a strip club is? You think they just gonna take your Tupperware into the back and warm it up for you? What the fuck, bro? Oh my god. This nigga. This comment is crazy. This has to be the most family Disney strip club story from Vegas. Oh my god. This man said, dude, like, what made you bring a Tupperware full of lasagna to the strip club, bro? Like, oh my god. I ain't gonna lie to you though. Strip clubs got some bomb spaghetti. Alright, I've only ever been to the strip club twice in my life, and I swear to God, first time I went, I had spaghetti there. It was fire. I don't know why, I don't know how, but it was fire. That spaghetti was bomb. Okay. Bachelor party in Fort Worth in the 80s. Dude runs out of cash and starts writing $1 checks for dancers. 2 weeks later, bank calls him at work asking if young lady with stack of $1 checks with "for love" in the memo line is legit. He was drunk and forgot about them until then. The look on his face when he realized is etched in my memory forever. This nigga pulled out his checkbook and said, "God damn, baby. Oh, yeah, hold on. Oh my God. Woo! Oh, let me write another one. Oh shit. Woo! Oh yeah, hold on. Let me tear that off. There we go. Oh yeah, man. God damn, girl. Woo! You about to clean out my whole checkbook. God damn." Like, bro ran out of ones and started writing checks and just throwing it at chicks. Like, what the fuck? I mean, that is crazy. I'm surprised he didn't get kicked out the club for that. You know, like, I would think you'd get kicked out the strip club for something like that. You know, like, what the fuck? You over here writing checks for $1. Like, what the fuck? Can't remember the club, but it had circle stage separate from the main stage. A dancer was doing the thing where they climb the pole night and spin down. Okay. Well, a very drunk guy spills his whole drink on the stage and then abruptly got up and walked away. A different guy sitting next to him saw this and tried to help. He picked up the cup and started trying to get the dancer's attention to warn her. Poor guy did not succeed. She spun around and basically mopped up the spill with her hair. She lost it, started yelling at the guy, and called over security. They rushed over, and the guy got the guy in a chokehold and dragged him out roughly. Somehow he picked up a busted nose as well. It happened so quick. I walked over and explained to the manager what happened, and he basically told me, "Thanks, but it's best you stay out of it at this point. Wherever this dude is, I hope he's well. Strip clubs can be brutal." Yo. So he's just sitting there and he's chilling, right? He watching the girl do her thing. And the guy next to him, like, gets up, spills his drink onto the desk. Not desk, I'm sorry. Onto the stage. And he just was like, oh, well, and walks away. So homeboy gets up and he's like, excuse me, there's a drink right here. No, excuse me. And then her hair gets all in the beer and stuff. And so then she's just like, what the fuck? Why did you spill your drink on the stage? And he's like, no, it wasn't me. It was no. And then out of nowhere, she's just like, security. And they come and they rough him up. And he's like, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. No. It was the guy. It was the other guy. And they're like, likely story, chief. And homeboy is just like, no, wait, hold on. It wasn't me. Like, bro, that would suck. You over here getting beat up by security because some other dude spilled some beer and you tried to warn her. Crazy. I would be so pissed, man. I'd never go back to that place ever again. I'd be like, fuck that shit. Dancer comes over to where we're sitting in front of the stage, tells us to give her $1 to see a trick, lays down with her head off the stage facing us, folds the dollar bill hot dog style, winks at us, and throws her legs over her head. She proceeds to delicately place the dollar over her vagina and queef it into the air. Like a child at a carnival, I light up and ask her to do it again. I spent $6 watching that trick and do not regret a thing. This nigga, like,
bruh.
What the fuck? He was just like, yo, this bitch out here queefing for $1, man. Oh my God, this man said I spent $6 watching this chick queef, bro. That's crazy. That is just ridiculous. He said, yo, man, I lit up after seeing her queef that dollar into the air. I was like, I gotta see this again. Man, how many times could she do it? Golly, bro. A dildo strapped to a remote control car. The audience members got to drive it around into some tunnels. What the fuck? Is that a thing? Dudes just driving RC cars around with a dildo attached to it in a strip club? Okay, I mean, like I said, I've only ever been in a strip club twice, and I've never seen nothing like that. Maybe something like that did happen. I don't know. I was engulfed in the spaghetti. I ain't gonna lie to you. So, but okay. All right. Hey, that's something. I went to one of those. I went into one of the ones in Bangkok without any pre-existing awareness of what I was in for. Oh, man. Some lady boys. A girl then squatted over my drink and dropped a frog from her vagina into the drink. I was kind of annoyed as I didn't feel comfortable drinking my drink, but it definitely blew my mind. Wait, what? Apparently this is a thing, because in the comments it says similar story though, yours is better. Same city, similar obvious idiot went in for a few drinks, saw a girl launching ping pong balls at people from her vagina. Impressive muscle control. However, it was a very weird experience. She was like some sort of Nerf gun. Nigga, what?
Bruh.
The shit dudes are amused by in strip clubs is just crazy. My God. I mean, I guess when you're just the lowest of low dude and you're just in a strip club and you're just looking for any kind of fucking entertainment, I guess. God damn, man. I guess that's the thing. You know, girls will put shit in their vagina and then drop it into your drink. Like, okay. And they'll launch ping pong balls at people. Okay, goddamn. Showed up on a weeknight for a couple of pints with a friend I hadn't seen in a while. It was around 11:30 and we asked to settle up and call it a night. The server came over and asked, "You guys are leaving now? Okay, but the show's about to start." Me and my buddy looked at each other and looked back at her and asked, "What show?" She smiled and pointed to the stage, and we saw a crew of surly men hauling a large kiddie pool and two 55-gallon drums labeled KY Jelly up onto the stage. It was a Elimination Rules KY wrestling tournament starring the strippers, and it was glorious. One petite girl was all in, suplexed the other combatants into submission. We stayed until the tournament was over. I was a wreck the next day, but it was so worth it. 10 out of 10 would recommend again.
Bruh.
I mean, I guess, you know, it makes for a dope story. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, it makes for a dope story. I give it that. But what? Like, yo, this shit is kind of crazy. This shit that these chicks do. You know, like, man, hey, you know, honestly though, shout out to Homegirl for like having these, you know, letting these guys know, hey, you know, the show about to start, because that's probably what, you know, these guys are famous for. You know, they're KY wrestling battles or whatever. But I mean, hey, it must be lit in some strip clubs sometimes, I guess. God damn, man. You got to go to the right ones. Quick story. Sitting at Sniffer's Row, stripper leans over and deep throats my buddy's Bud Light bottle, throws her head back and starts chugging with no hands. Unfortunately, it was full of chew spit. So she ended up retching on stage in the fetal position through the AC/DC song. Felt terrible for her, and we all tried to stop as she went, but it happened so fast. That's nasty. What they were doing is they were probably chewing on like chewing tobacco, and they were all spitting into the same bottle, and then she grabbed the bottle and like grabbed it with her mouth and then leaned back and drank what was in the bottle. And then she realized what she was fucking drinking and was like, huh? That's disgusting. That is fucking disgusting. I bet you she never did that ever again. Like, oh my God, bro. A lot of guys are like, a lot of people in the comments are just like, yep, I'm done. Yep, I'm good. That's enough internet for me today. God damn, man. We gonna keep the train rolling though. We went one night, and there was a guy we worked with there. We didn't go to the strip club with him. He happened to just be there alone. There was this hefty girl on stage. Buddy walks over casually and lays down face up on the stage, folds a 20 and puts it on his nose. Big Bertha walks over, squats down, and grabs it off his face with her snatch. It was an amazing and disturbing sight, bruh. This man was just like, about time. This is what I'm talking about. Yo, I love me some fat chicks. I got $20 with her fat thighs name on it. This man laid on the stage and he put a $20 bill on his nose, and she came and just grabbed it with her fat coochie. God damn, bro. God damn, man. Okay. Hey, teach his own, I guess. The mate walked up to the bar and told the staff he was a health inspector and could see smears on the pole, which he claimed was a reportable offense. Next minute, 2 bouncers are scrubbing the pole down. There's a comment. Anyone throw cash at him? That's fucked up. All right, then. I walked into a strip club in a small town a long time ago. No one was there and no music was playing. When I made enough noise that they heard someone was there, a pregnant 50-plus-year-old woman walked out, popped in a Nickelback CD and started to dance. The CD started to skipping and I left. Yo, what the fuck? This old lady popped out and was just like, oh, let's get it. Let's get it. I'm popping my Nickelback. Talking about, look at his photograph. This nigga was like, yo, this place is a joke. I'm leaving. God dang, man. Oh, my friend got kicked in the face after laughing because the stripper was doing her thing to the song by the Bloodhound Gang called The Lap Dance Is So Much Better When the Stripper Is Crying. Full 360 no scope, spin on the pole, and then bam, right to the fucking chin. That's a core memory right there. Yo. Homeboy was leaning so close onto the stage that she swung around and said, "Schmack!" And homeboy was just like, oh shit. Homeboy was like, she straight 360 no scope that nigga right off the side of the railing. Golly. God, that's crazy. Her legs are spread and she kind of slapping it. Someone asked, what do you feed that thing? Without hesitation, she said, peanut butter and jelly, nigga.
Bruh.
Oh my God. What in the hell? I swear, dudes are weird as fuck sometimes, man. This nigga just looked at her, shaking her butt, and he was like, God damn, girl, what you feed that thing? And she said, peanut butter and jelly. Like, what? I'd be looking at that conversation, and I'd be sitting there just like, what? Did this nigga really just say that? Like, did he really say that? And then on top of that, she respond? Like,
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
come on, man. I'd be so surprised. All right, man. All right. The best thing I saw at a strip club was a group of 5 women with ages ranging between 20 to 50 years old, all their tops off and laying on the stage to tip the dancers. Seeing stripper boobs is nice, maybe even boring after a while. Seeing regular girls' boobs out of the blue, that's amazing. You know, it's something about the spontaneousness of it all, you know? It's like when you go to a strip club, you know you're going to see titties. It's kind of like, it's like a guarantee, but like, you know, when you go on a date with a girl and things are going well and she asks to go back to your place and you see those titties, it's like, huh, this is nice. I wasn't expecting it. I wanted it, but I didn't expect it. So, you know, yeah, brother. Hit up a strip club in Atlanta with 3 friends. There happened to be an Asian porn star making an appearance. After her dance, it was announced that she would rub her tits on your face for $20 donation. God damn, bro. What the fuck? My best friend decided to get in on this, and he was 4th or 5th guy to go up to the stage. The exchange was made, tits were rubbed in his face, and then he turned around and took 2 steps before tripping over a chair leg and falling flat on his face. The entire place exploded in laughter. Even the dancer was dying. It literally looked like he was so overwhelmed by the experience that he collapsed. Oh man, this nigga was just like, he was so enthralled in the titties that were just rubbed on his face. He turned around so dizzy that nigga fell over. Oh my God. I have never seen such a red face in all my years. I'm sure he's probably forgotten about it by now. I'll have to remember to dust it off and share it at an appropriate moment in the future. After all, what are best friends for? Facts, man. Facts. Oh, man. A guy with Down syndrome throws a fistful of change at the stripper nearest him. Yo. They called him a baller on a budget. Yo, the niggas in the comments are crazy. They said he's a baller on a budget. You niggas are crazy. Oh, shit. Oh, my God, bro. Oh, God. I'm crying. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. These niggas said he's a baller on a budget. God damn. That nigga said, here's some change, bitch. Oh, my God, bro. Woo. Oh, that had me splitting sides. God damn. Oh, shit. All right, we're gonna do like 3 more. Oh, shit. Philippines, all the girls cleared out, and this one girl came out with this gossamer gown and obvious professional ballet and dance training, and performed to Alanis Morissette's Uninvited. The entire club was silent and rapped for 4 minutes. Okay. All right. We'll do 2 more. I once had a stripper take a match from my book of matches, split the cardboard at a non-fairy end, sat in front of me, and put 1 foot on each of my shoulders. She then wet the split end with her tongue, stuck it into her clit, lit it with another match, and had me come close to light my cigarette. She was just lovely too. Montreal as a teenager going over the border from the U.S. Nigga, what?
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
So she put her legs on his shoulder, so he's just looking at her vagina, and then she gets a match, lights that bitch, puts it in her vagina, and then it's just like, light your cigarette with this.
What?
Like, yo,
What did he say?
Cause that is unbelievable. Yo, I shout out to Montreal, man. I mean, I got no words. I got no words for some shit like that, bro. That's crazy. Shout out Montreal, though. You know, hey, man. My boss and I went to a strip club while out of town on business. There was also a huge trade showing going on in town, and this place was packed. On the tables, there were menus listing extra and price. Started with the table dance, $20, and the last was an ultimate fantasy for $140. I stopped a dancer and asked what the ultimate fantasy was. She said, you and 6 other guys pitch in $20 each and we'll show you. It took less than 5 minutes, and me, 6 other dudes, 2 strippers, and a bouncer were heading to the back. Inside the room was a heart-shaped bed with a side table. On the table was a huge purple dildo. For $140, we watched one stripper fuck the other with a purple strap on for the duration of 2 songs. Unbelievable. That's crazy, bro. 6 dudes in one room just cuckolding themselves. That's crazy, man. That is crazy. They straight just cuckolding themselves. They're watching a girl pretty much peg another girl, and they're just like, yeah, this worth $20 right here. Goddamn. Oh, man. You know, like, bro, I would just pay the $140 just to be there by myself. Like, nigga, the fuck we talking about here? Like, dude, what the fuck? Like,
What?
hey, man, look, man, all y'all niggas in these strip clubs, bro.
Stop it. Get some help.
Y'all need it. Y'all need Jesus. God damn, man. These strip clubs need Jesus. Yeah, I get it, man. The strip club is lit sometimes and y'all, be doing your thing, but god damn, bro. The strip club's crazy. Hey, just get you some strip club spaghetti, man. Shout out. Oh, man. I hope you guys liked that thread, though. That was a wild ass fucking thread. I'm not going to lie to you, man. That was probably one of the wildest threads I had ever gone through. Man, you guys got some crazy stories. We might revisit that thread because that is a crazy ass fucking thread. I'm not gonna lie, man. All right, before we get into haunting Adeline, we're gonna go ahead and get into our announcements for the show. God damn, I don't know what's going on with me. Patreon.com/Am I the Asshole Podcast. If you'd like an exclusive episode every single Friday, as well as being able to send in as many scenarios as you'd like to be featured on the show, Patreon is the place to do it, man. Patreon.com/Am I the Asshole Podcast. $3 a month, man. $3 a month gets you an exclusive episode on Friday. I know you guys are getting a bunch of value already. You guys are like, man, I got a Tuesday, I got a Thursday, and a Sunday show, bro. I'm chilling. But if you're loving the content and you like what we do and you're coming back every week, why not support your boy? $3 a month on Patreon. Let's see. TikTok and Instagram, go ahead and follow us there for all our clips. TikTok, we growing like crazy, but TikTok don't like you, boy. All right, I wish I could be a little more consistent uploading clips on TikTok, especially if you've come from TikTok and you're listening to this. I try to be more how would you say it? I try to be more consistent, but it's hard to be very consistent because anytime I do upload, sometimes TikTok has a real big problem with it. I've been getting hit with community guidelines and strikes and all this kind of stuff, because we talk about some crazy ass shit. As you just seen in this thread, we talk about some crazy ass shit on this show. And sometimes, TikTok is like, hey, yo, bro, there's children's on this app and we can't really do all that. So I can't be as consistent as I'd like to, but I'm gonna definitely keep trying. And you guys are killing it over there, man. I mean, with 2,500 followers, you guys are killing it over there. So keep following on there, keep sharing and liking all the clips over there, as well as on the audio platforms. Download and rate the podcast. I cannot stress it enough. Please, please, please rate the podcast, man. 5 stars is preferable. But if you are gonna rate it honestly, say it with your chest, all right? But without further ado, let's get into chapters 8 and 9 of Haunting Adeline. All right, where we left off is Adeline. I don't know if she's at a bar or at a club, but she is out somewhere, and we got a little more backstory on our main guy. That he developed this hacker group, and that he is helping little girls out of trafficking and stuff like that. And we got a little more, background on him. Adeline actually went to, like I said, I don't know if it's a bar or if it's a club. It's one of those two. She happens to meet this guy, dude's pretty handsome, this and that, so on and so forth. And she's like, ooh, something could happen with this guy. You never know. So he's like, hey, do you want to go upstairs and meet my friends? And she's a little hesitant, but she's like, you know what? Fuck it, I'll go. So she goes. She sits down. She gets a text message, and it's unknown. And so she's like, what the fuck? What's this? And the text message says, if he touches you, you will find his hand in your mailbox. And she's just like, what the fuck? Like, why is my stalker, saying shit like this? Why is he doing this? You know what I mean? What the fuck is going on here? And so she's just like, maybe I should step away from this guy. I don't want him to get hurt because of me. I don't want this guy to hurt him or even worse, kill him because of me. So she kind of steps away for it a little bit. But then she thinks to herself, you know what? Fuck this guy, man. It's my life. If I want to be with this guy, I should be able to be with this guy and I should be able to be happy. You never know. This could be my husband. We could have some children and we could be happy and so on and so forth. And so, she's kind of thinking about it and whatnot. She's kind of weighing her pros and cons. And I think that she's kind of actually going to go for the guy. But it did end there. So let's go ahead and get into it. I am sorry about, let me see what episode it was. It was episode 85. I do apologize. We were having a lot of technical difficulties getting the book to capture. I hope that I fixed that. So I'm actually going to see if I fix that now. But I know I did fix that in last week's episode. So last week's episode, we are all good. So episode 89 should be fixed and all good. But obviously OBS sometimes likes to act weird and all that kind of bullshit. So I'm going to go ahead and test it, make sure everything is running smoothly, and then we will get right into it. So give me one momento here.
Chapter 8. The Manipulator.
Okay, cool. Everything should be working just fine. So
Dia takes Luke home while I take Arch back to the manor. He asked me to go to his, but I felt much safer at my own home, more in control. In retrospect, I shouldn't take him to a house that sits on a cliff, surrounded by woods and several miles out from civilization. Worst of all, with a stalker that lingers around and likes to break in. God, this was stupid. My house isn't safer by any means, but I couldn't bring myself to go to his place. I don't like being in unfamiliar places with strangers, like I could be walking into a house that I'll never come back out of. It makes me feel far more vulnerable, though I'm in the most vulnerable position I could possibly be in right now.
Facts.
You have a beautiful home.
Arch compliments, his eyes sweeping over the entirety of the living room and kitchen. I updated the wallpaper to a more modern black paisley, got rid of the tragic gold curtains, replaced them with red ones, and updated the couches to red leather. But his eyes keep drifting back to the black wooden steps as if he knows they lead to my bedroom. Except I have different plans. That's not the best part. I tease, grabbing his hand and leading him down the hallway to my favorite room in Parsons Manor, the sunroom. I don't go back here very often. It's where Nana and I spent most of our time together. It hurts to come in here when the room is still thick with her presence. Breathing in deep, I open the double doors and step inside. This room is a glass box. The ceiling, the walls, everywhere around us is one big window. It's also the best spot to be in. It overlooks the cliff edge, the waters glittering beneath the moonlight. But the most notable part is directly above us. The stars are breathtaking to look at. Out here, we have no light pollution. The night sky is lit up with orbs of diamonds glinting and shining against the black backdrop. Arch's head slowly turns as he takes in the sight before him. And then he cranes his head back, staring up at the sky with his mouth hanging open. I imagine it's one of the few moments where this man has looked unattractive, but to me, it's the most attractive he's been this entire night. He's not concerned with controlling his face and movements, nor is he practiced in following a script. He's just a man in awe of the beauty surrounding him.
Damn.
He mutters finally, his voice deep with wonder. He turns his head back to me, the edges of his eyes round with delight. The blue moons in his eyes are glimmering with an emotion I can't put my finger on. It isn't until that mask slides back over his face that I realize he looked sad. Melancholic. And I want to know why, but with the way his eyes are heating like a burner on the stove, I know the opportunity has already passed.
You got something special here,
he says quietly, prowling towards me. The stars have long since faded, and the only thing he can't seem to look away from now is me. I do. I breathe, watching him come closer with bated breath. There's a small tug at the back of my head, an instinctual feeling that reminds me that I'm in a glass box, with a shadow possibly lurking outside, provided with a full view of what's happening. Part of me doesn't mind if he's out there. I want to prove something to the deranged man who thinks he owns me. I want to show him he doesn't. The only person who will lay claim to my body is who I allow. I'll let Arch's hands touch me, hands that will trace every inch of my skin, followed by his mouth. I'll let his tongue lick my pussy until I'm sated, right before he fucks me until I no longer know my name. I'll let him, because I said he could. Arch towers over me, molding his front to mine and pinning my breasts against his chest. My breath stutters as warmth envelops me, his arms circling tightly around my waist and locking me against him. I like the way he feels pressed against me, the softness of my body molding against the hard ridges of his. It feels nice. Good. Arch stares deeply into my eyes for a brief moment, and then he tilts his head and gently captures my lips between his. I sigh, his soft lips moving against mine rhythmically, like the water at the bottom of the cliff, swaying against the rocks. I moan into his mouth, needing more and deepening the kiss, prying his lips apart so I can dip my tongue inside. He growls, his restraint slipping. His other hand sweeps into my hair, angling my head better so he can plunge his tongue in my mouth, exploring skillfully with little control. I rise on my toes, pressing further into him. Shuddering at the feel of his hard cock digging into my stomach, the length of him only intensifying my desire. He's not small. And that's really what I need tonight, something that will blind me with pleasure and leave me breathless and satisfied. His tongue fights against mine, swiping and licking as his teeth nip at my lips. Another moan slips free, bouncing in his mouth until he matches it with his own groan. The hand in my hair tightens, jerking my mouth away, giving his lips freedom to trail down my jaw and descend to the juncture between my neck and shoulder. I gasp when I feel his teeth scrape against my flesh, a small warning before he bites down. Sharp pleasure sends my eyes to the back of my head, and a long moan slips free.
Fuck.
He curses, licking at my neck with a feral groan.
That sexy voice of yours.
My eyes flutter as I succumb to the pleasure his tongue and teeth are drawing out of me. His hands drift lower until I feel a firm tug on my jeans. The button pops open a second later, followed by the low purr of my zipper coming undone.
Is your pussy wet for me, Addie?
Arch asks on a low growl, nipping a tad viciously at my neck. It smarts and I can't help but wince from the pain. His tongue smooths across the bite mark, soothing the sting. Yes, I whisper, as pleasure begins to override the pain. His hand slithers down the front of my jeans and thong, his fingers drifting lower until the tip of his middle finger dips inside me. A low, deep growl arises when he feels just how truthful I was being.
Fuck, baby, that's it. Let me hear you sing now.
And then, 2 fingers are plunging inside of me, curling to hit that spot. My vision blackens and a yelp of pleasure is my only response. It's the only thing I'm capable of. Instinctively, I roll my hips, grinding into his hand. He withdraws to the tips before driving them into me again. And again, until he's fucking me with his fingers and all I can do is hold on, my nails biting into his suit jacket. Long, husky moans are drawn from my throat, singing for him just the way he asked.
You sing so pretty.
He whispers in my ear. A sharp nip follows his words. The heel of his palm presses firmly into my clit. His skilled fingers lift me higher, the orgasm curling low in my stomach. But then he rubs just right, making my knees quake from the pleasure. Oh! I moan, my breathing erratic and breathless.
Do you sing pretty when you come, Addie?
He asks in a dark whisper. I think I nod, but I can't be sure because within seconds, my head is kicking back as my release builds to a fierce point.
Let me hear it.
He coaxes. His fingers slide out, and when they plunge back in, a third finger joins. My eyes roll and I plummet over the edge. I cry out, the sound breaking from the pitch as deep-seated pleasure consumes me from the inside out. Shamelessly, I grind against his hand, riding out the endless waves.
Such a pretty bird,
He murmurs, satisfaction tightening his voice. Breathless, but somehow even hungrier, I lift up on my toes and crush my mouth to his. He hums his approval, spearing my lips apart with his tongue. Then his hand drifts up and breaks the kiss with a digit drifting across my bottom lip, spreading my arousal.
You've left a mess on my hand, Eddie. It'd be rude not to clean it up.
I hold eye contact while my tongue darts out, the tip sliding across his finger. He smiles wickedly, prompting me to open my mouth wider. Just as his finger goes to slide in, an icy feeling washes over me. It feels like the waves I was drifting in have turned angry and are ramming my body into the unforgiving rock. My mouth stalls and my eyes dart over his shoulder. It's dark in here, save for the moonlight and bright sky, but it feels like I'm in a room filled with stadium lights. A movement straight ahead turns my heart upside down and sends it crashing to the pit of my stomach. He's out there. I can't see him or even make out his silhouette, but I know he is. I can feel him.
Stay focused.
Noticing the change, Arch pulls away, breathing heavily and looking at me like he can't decide if he wants to ask if I'm okay or just keep going anyway.
What's wrong?
He asks, grabbing my biceps in an attempt to grab my attention. Nothing. I rush out, bringing him closer. Let's go upstairs to my room instead. I'm no longer feeling cocky enough to fuck a man in front of a crazy person. The high from my release has completely dissipated my confidence, but I'm too stubborn to stop. I want Arch. I just don't want any voyeurs while I take him.
You don't want to get your pussy eaten under the stars?
He asks incredulously, looking at me as if I've grown a second head. I do, but I trail off when another movement draws my attention away. Arch steps forward, pressing against me and pulling my attention back to him. I have to crane my neck to see him properly, and the sight is one I'll never forget.
I think you should strip off your clothes and show me that sexy little body of yours. Then I want you to lie down, spread your legs, and let me clean up the mess you made.
An entirely embarrassing squeak slips out, a sound that immediately brings a smirk to his face and blood rushing to my cheeks. The creep momentarily forgotten. Real smooth, dipshit. I take a step back, heat slithering across my body as I drift my hands down my sides and took both thumbs into my jeans. Just as I go to slide them down my legs, a loud bang disturbs the charged silence and sends my heart flying to my throat. I yelp, startled and way too close to pissing my pants from the angry knocking. Arch's head snaps toward the sound, clearly just as startled.
Expecting company?
Arch asks, his voice a tad breathless. My own erratic breathing is uneven as I say, No. It's fucking déjà vu, and even though I saw it coming this time, I'm incredibly close to stomping my foot like a child. Unlike with Grayson, I was actually enjoying myself. He rushes back into the hallway and down towards the front door with me hot on his heels. I'm buttoning and zipping my pants as I go, already sensing that this night is over. The hallway leads straight back to the foyer, the entryway to the right of the staircase. Pausing before the entrance, he turns to me and grabs a hold of me.
Stay in the hallway. Whoever it is, I don't want them seeing you.
He hesitates, a weird look passing on his face. Before I can decipher it, he's speaking again, his voice strained.
Call the cops if shit goes south.
I'm not capable of stringing together a coherent sentence, the panic stealing my sense. I should have told him I have a stalker, and I thought I saw something when we were in the sunroom, but everything happened too fast. And now he's actively putting himself in danger. The situation turns me on just as much as it terrifies me. I need to check myself into a mental hospital if I survive this night. Because my shadow is pissed. Just like he was when Grayson was here, and I have no idea how dangerous this guy is, but he could be here to kill us both. Especially now that he watched another man make me come with the very hand he threatened to cut off and put in my mailbox. I dropped my head in my hands, instant regret filling up my body like a waterfall in a lake. I'm bursting with it because if the stalker is as insane as he says he is, then I just possibly got a man killed. Or at least brutally mutilated. I hear the door creak open. My head snaps up in response.
Come on out, fucker. I know you're out there.
Arch threatens loudly. Peeking around the corner, I watch Arch step outside, but not before he pulls a gun out. Eyes bulging, my mouth falls open, and I wonder just who the hell I let in my house. He shuts the door behind him, the resounding click of the door echoing in my head. Looks like I was wrong and did happen to find someone willing to kill for me. Jury's out on the fucking part, but if his foreplay is any indication, I think he would have done well in that department too. Now more than ever, I want to kill this creep myself. I finally find a man capable of satisfying me, and this asshole is ruining it. God, I know we don't always agree on my life choices, but please don't let this poor man die because of me. I'll stop drinking. I mean it this time. And I also pray that Arch has good aim. If I walk out and find the weirdo with a bullet in his skull, I won't mourn his death. For the next several minutes, I hear nothing at all. It's hard to when my heart is pounding in my ears, but there would be no mistaking a gunshot. Fuck, I can't handle this suspense. No longer capable of waiting, I rush over to the window beside the door and peek out. Arch's car is still sitting in my driveway, but I don't see anything else. No bodies. Nothing. Shooting a quick prayer to my least favorite person at the moment, I open the door slowly, listening for any sounds of distress or fighting. When I'm greeted with nothing but the chirping of crickets, I open the door wider and step out. The crunch of something under my foot cements my body into stone. I close my eyes, another prayer on my tongue. If I stepped on a body part, oh my God, I'm going to freak. Taking a few short breaths, I move my foot away and look down. A rose, the petals crumpled from my foot. Oh, fuck, I mutter, bending down to pick up the rose. The thorns are snipped, preventing it from cutting me, but it doesn't matter. This rose has not been deprived of one's pain. Dripping off the petals and onto my boot is fresh blood. Arch is gone, and all that's left of him is a bloody rose. Yanking my phone out of my back pocket, I unlock it to call the cops, hands trembling. The phone lights up, and that's when I see another text. The one that came through in the club, and the one I dutifully ignored.
Unknown. Don't feel guilty, baby. I don't make idle threats, so consider this a lesson learned.
Red and blue lights brighten the world before me, and the flashing colors make me feel sick. Dread is pooling in the pit of my stomach while police officers and dogs search the surrounding area. An officer has confiscated the rose, yet the blood has stained my hands, physically and metaphorically. I rub my fingers together, watching the dried blood flake from my skin. A tear escapes, but I quickly wipe it away. I killed a man. I brought him here knowing someone dangerous was lurking, and I did it anyway. And now he's gone.
Homeboy died.
Ma'am, I need to ask you a few questions.
Sheriff Walters says, walking towards the porch steps that I'm currently sitting on. I've known him since I was a child. He went to school with my mother, and they were good friends. Every now and again, she'd invite him over for dinner. He's always been kind. Quiet and soft-spoken, he always seemed more interested in listening than speaking. He's a tall, built man, towering to at least 6'7". I think his family descends from giants because his father and brothers are just as freakishly large. His father was a sheriff, and his father before. Pretty sure a couple of his brothers are cops, too. One big family of gigantic cops. Just what the world needs, right? Scruff peppers Sheriff Walters' cheeks, and his brown eyes are tired and wary. I already gave the rundown to the responding officer, but when I told him a man was missing and I was gifted a bloody rose, he was more concerned about getting a search party going. Considering dense woods surround me, it's likely the man took Arch on foot until he managed to get him into a car somewhere and drive off. I sniff, wiping snot from my nose and nodding my head. Yeah, sure.
Can you give me the name of the man who was with you here tonight?
Archibald Talavera, I answer robotically. I guess Arch being pretentious and giving me his full name paid off. I almost smile, yet it's anything but funny. The sheriff doesn't speak right away. I glance at him and note his bushy black eyebrows are raised high on his forehead.
Talavera, huh? This man might have done you a favor,
he says, muttering the last part. What? I squeak out, the corners of my eyes rounding. The sheriff sighs and runs a hand through his thick, dark hair. In his younger years, I'm sure he was attractive. But now, silver is invading his hair, and wrinkles line the edges of his eyes and mouth. He looks aged and weathered, and over the years, I've watched his eyes grow dull and tired.
The Talaveras are known criminals,
he informs me. My eyes pop, and in that moment, I realize my mother did a terrible job raising me. My life choices are questionable at best lately. I'm going to need to have a long, hard talk with the she-devil from above. She's been trying to kill me off, I think, and I'm starting to wonder if I should just let her. What kind of criminals? Sheriff Walters twists his chapped lips to the side, seeming to contemplate what he wants to say.
Nothing has been proven, never any sufficient evidence, but they deal in cocaine primarily. Allegedly.
He tacks on at the end, side-eyeing me.
What I can say is Archibald has been accused of domestic violence by his ex-wife several times. He's gotten out of the charges unscathed, of course, but he's known to be a very violent man.
I turn my head and cover my face with my hands. Sheriff Walters pats my back awkwardly, assuming I'm crying, but my eyes are as dry as the Sahara Desert. I'm too angry to cry, angry at myself for being so stupid and taking a random man home. Angry for getting that man killed, a man that is connected to a dangerous family. Will his family come after me?
No,
he responds, sharply.
That family has a list of enemies a mile long. They're not going to concern themselves with a random girl. They might look into you, but when they don't find anything, they'll start looking into whoever they pissed off.
I nod my head, slightly assured by that.
That is, if they don't find out about the rose.
My heart sinks like a rock into a well. I lift my head and look at him, catching on to his meaning.
That rose was personal, Adeline. Do you know what it means?
I have a stalker. I've made several reports lately about my house being broken into and roses popping up everywhere I go. The sheriff's brows scrunch.
I looked into your file. There are no reports made about a stalker.
My spine snaps straight as shock blasts through me. What do you mean? I ask, my voice shrill and angry. I've made several.
Calm down,
Sheriff Walters says, splaying his hands out in a gesture that matches his words.
I will take a deeper look when I get back to the precinct. Can you tell me now what's been going on?
Forcing my heart to slow, I relay everything that's been happening. With the random glasses of alcohol being drunk while I was home alone, the roses, and the note card with the ominous threat. Sheriff Walters listens tentatively, pulling out a notepad and taking notes as I speak. When I'm finished, I feel even more exhausted than before.
I'll look into it, but Adeline, you understand that if the Talaveras find out you have a stalker, they might place blame?
I rear back, completely baffled that a cop is warning me that a criminal family could come after me. But he's never been one to sugarcoat or hide truths. On several occasions, my dad would ask details about certain things, and the sheriff would always divulge whatever he was allowed to. There were a few times Mom had to snap at the two men for grisly conversations at the dinner table, in front of a child, no less. Sheriff Walters would apologize, but he never actually looked sorry.
I'll do everything in my power to stop that from happening,
he assures. Somehow, that doesn't make me feel any better in the slightest. Sighing, I turn away and stare out into the dense trees, the red and blue lights flickering and creating a shadow dance party. I nod my head, accepting his help for what it is. This man isn't going to be able to do a damn thing to stop a criminal from walking up to my doorstep. Whether it's a crime family or a fucking stalker. September 10th, 1944. I haven't seen Ronaldo in 3 days. 3 days of wondering where he is if something happened to me. My thoughts spiraled. John and I got into a fight. He says I've changed, that I'm no longer the woman he fell in love with. I'm distant now. When he wants to have sex, I'm not interested. I've begun to feel like my marriage is wrong and dirty. I've begun to feel like I'm cheating, but not on my husband. It feels like I'm cheating on my visitor. There wasn't much I could say to assure my husband I still love him, other than those 3 words. They've begun to feel empty when I say them. Based off the hollowness in his eyes, those 3 words have begun to feel hollow to him too. I'm losing my husband, slowly but surely. And I'm ashamed to admit that I don't mind that too much.
Chapter 9. The Shadow. I've committed homicide, cold-blooded murder, on many men who have worn different faces of the devil, and I've done it for various reasons, whether they raped a child, killed an innocent, or destroyed someone's life that didn't deserve it. But I've never killed someone out of jealousy. First time for everything, I guess. Archibald Talavera has his lips on my girl and his hands down her pants. He's touching her, fucking her with his fingers, saying dirty things to her that elicits a pretty little blush of color to her cheeks. And at that moment, I decided he wasn't going to live tonight. The second I saw them together, it took all of my control not to storm into that club and drag her ass out of there. Because not only was another man trying to lay claim to my girl, but Archibald Talavera is a fucking psychopath, a real one. He beat his ex-wife to a bloody pulp on several occasions and made her life a living hell when she finally decided to divorce his ass. The woman is still in a psychiatric hospital receiving treatment for severe PTSD. He literally broke the woman, and while she spends her days trying to heal from his abuse, he spends his nights in clubs and picking out a different woman to take home and fuck. Last I heard, he's not a nice fuck either. His form of rough play isn't pleasurable by any means when the woman walks away with a bloody nose and a busted lip. The asshole deserves to die, and I'm happy to get the fucking honor. This man and his family's crimes were small crumbs in the grand scheme of things. His family gets involved in petty crimes and sees themselves as Seattle's mafia, but they're ants compared to the fucking dinosaurs walking around in this city. I've left them alone because there are much bigger fish to fry than low-life criminals who think they're crime lords. Their threat to humanity is minuscule compared to the people I track and kill. And until they start trading in more than just powder, they've never been on my radar. Until now, that is. There's no stopping Addie from opening her mouth and telling the cops she has a stalker. Doesn't matter that I've destroyed all evidence of her police reports. And if the Talaveras get wind of that, they'll kill Addie for something way out of her control. It doesn't matter that the family has enemies. Any possibility will be eliminated when they find that the heir of the Talavera Empire has been murdered. So tonight, I'll rid Seattle of the little pests that have been congregating so I can focus back on the bigger things, making Adeline mine and dismantling the pedophile rings. I crack my neck, storm over to the front door and bang my fist into the wood as hard as I can. I pour all my anger into it, not giving a fuck if I crack the wood beneath my fist. Just like the night that small dick asshole was here, running out of the house naked with only one sock on, cursing Addie's name. I was relieved to see Addie kicked him out herself. It was the only reason I didn't kill him that night, but it doesn't mean I didn't cut out his tongue for the names he called her. She still isn't aware of that since I ran him out of town and forbade him from contacting her again. I duck back in the shadows beyond the porch. I know Archie's type. He'll come storming out, ever the savior for the damsel in distress, ready to take on the big bad wolf like he's not the old granny about to get eaten. Really, he's just a rabid fox posing as a wolf. His bite hurts, but nothing compared to that of a real predator. Right on cue, Archie whips the door open, his hands wrapped around a gun. "Come on out, fucker. I know you're out there." Come get me, Archie. He hesitates on the doorstep, sensing the danger residing in the shadows. But after a few moments, he develops a vagina and charges out the door and down the porch steps. His head turns, his eyes widening as he catches a glimpse of my face with a single red rose in my mouth, the stem caught between my teeth. I bare my teeth, a feral grin that would chill even the devil. Before he can react, I dart out, grab his arm, and twist him around. My hand slaps over his mouth as I pull his back to my front. Twirling my knife, I stab him twice in the stomach, both precise areas that won't cut through vital organs. He grunts beneath my hand, the shock rendering him mostly silent. Before the situation catches up to him and he starts shouting, I push him off of me and deliver one sharp punch to the back of the head. Done in a matter of 10 seconds, not a single peep out of his mouth. My arm snaps out and I catch him by the back of his suit jacket before he can faceplant to the cold, muddy ground. Out cold and bleeding profusely. I need to staunch the wounds before he loses too much blood. But first, I slide the rose from my mouth and dip the petals in the crimson, spilling from his wounds. Can't have my little mouse thinking there aren't consequences for letting another man touch what's mine. She'll find out soon enough that I don't make idle threats. I rest his body against the porch for a second while I walk up and throw the rose at her doorstep. I'm too pissed to do much else. And then I grab his body and start the brief trek through the woods where my Mustang awaits. By the time the cops get here, it'll be too late. A blood trail will lead them to tire tracks, and they might be able to narrow down the make and model based on the tread impressions, but the evidence will run cold after that. It will all be destroyed soon enough. The cops won't know which direction to look, and Archie's family will assume their enemies caught up to him. And they wouldn't be wrong. They just won't be able to guess who until I'm standing in front of them with a knife in their necks. Let me the fuck go, you fucking prick! You think I'm someone to mess with? Do you have any fucking idea who I am and who my family is? His mouth is going to be stapled shut in 0.2 seconds if he keeps running it. That I do know. I relay this to him and he answers with a hyena laugh. I turn and clock the fucker in the mouth, all the while keeping my Mustang straight. Colorful words follow, but they're no brighter than the blood pouring out with them. Pretty boy isn't so pretty now. He's going to experience a lot worse once I get back to my place. He laid his mouth and hands on my girl, and there's consequences for silly mistakes like that. He woke up about 5 minutes into the drive. 2 strips of fabric from his shirt are tied tightly across each stab wound on his abdomen. His hands and feet are hogtied. There's not a chance of him slipping free of those. I've had too much practice. He's been running his mouth since the moment he awoke, and it's been grinding my gears into dust. He throws out empty threats like bullets, but instead they're paper in the wind. None of them make an impact. In fact, they don't land anywhere near me. It's the mention of Addie that sends me into a murderous rage. Come on, man. Are you this worked up over a piece of ass? Her voice may be cut out for porn and her pussy tight as fuck, but shit, you can find that in other bitches too. I've fucked plenty of them. What was going to be a fairly slow death is now going to be the slowest death to ever happen since the dawn of humanity. It was bad enough that he spoke of my girl in such a disgusting manner, but then he went and topped it off by implying Addie isn't anything special. She's the first of her kind to exist, and there will never be another like her. I pull into the driveway leading into my warehouse. It's a smaller structure, used to manufacture cameras for some shitty company that went out of business within 5 years. The building was foreclosed on, and I bought it for dirt cheap, and then spent hundreds of thousands of dollars transforming it into an impenetrable fortress. I converted the main floor into my living space with state-of-the-art security. An ant will not be able to find its way into the building without me knowing about it. The second floor is my workspace. Dozens of computers and illegal technology that make it possible to do what I do fill the space. And the basement is where I handle all of my business. meaning where I take the pedophiles to torture and kill them when they have information I need. I built an underground garage that drives straight into the basement. Makes for an easier haul when I got a 6'2" dickhead to carry to the table. I'm a big man, but I'm just as capable of throwing out my back as the next person. I'm still a human fucking being. Shutting the garage door behind me, I turn the car off and twist around. I sigh at the sight. Usually I'm more prepared when I kidnap people. They go in the trunk, and I don't have to worry about getting my car dirty. But by the time I carried him back to my car, I was in a hurry and just threw him back there. He's already got blood everywhere, and I'm going to have to pay my cleaning crew extra to get those stains out. With that amount of blood, anyone would ask questions. But they get paid way too much to ask stupid questions that'll get them killed. We can do this the easy way, or the hard way. I can knock your ass out, or you can be a good little bitch and stay still. His bloody mouth forms around the word fuck, and it doesn't take a genius to know what word is going to come out next. I punch him in the nose before he can get the first syllable out. The crunch of bone beneath my fist is nearly orgasmic. By the time I'm pulling my fist away, blood is squirting from his broken nose. He spits, and a tooth flies out of his mouth and onto my floor. I'm going to shove my foot up his ass just for that. I get out, round the car, and swing open the door. He starts protesting, but the words become garbled when I grab him by the collar and drag his ass out. With his limbs tied up, he feels every drop and bump as I drag his body out of the car and haul him towards the table. He squirms like a worm on a hook, and I can tell by the panicked look on his face that he has that feeling. The sinking feeling that his life is balancing on the edge, and I'm about to fucking Sparta kick him off. Despite his struggles, I wrangle him on the surgical table and systematically untie specific ropes so I can strap him to the table while simultaneously keeping him immobile. He looks over and sees a dead Josh lying on the other table. After I saw Cicely off, Michael dropped Josh off at my place while I went to Parsons Manor to snoop around. Addie and her friend were leaving, so I followed them to a club. It took all my willpower not to put a bullet in every man's head that grinded their dick against her ass. I decided to go home and take care of business before I did something stupid and actually kidnap her. While I interrogated Josh, I set up a monitor and kept an eye on Addie through the club's cameras. I'll admit, my torture methods became a lot bloodier once I saw Archie lead her up the stairs. I got the information I needed from Josh, their process for extracting girls, names of some of the mules, and the name of who Josh reports to. Turns out the guy is in Ohio, so I'm letting one of the other mercenaries handle him. He'll get the information on his boss and work our way up the chain. The mules have already been located and targeted, so after I'm done disposing of these two fucks, they'll be getting a sniper shot to the head, then on to Archie's family. "The fuck, man?" Archie spits, both terror and disgust evident in his tone. Josh's face has started to bloat. I shrug, unbothered. I have a lot of bodies to dispose of tonight. It'll be easier to dispose of them all at the same time. "Look, whatever my family did, we can work out a deal." Archie negotiates, his words a little garbled and misshapen from his broken teeth. His nose is already swollen and bruised, along with his split, puffy lips. He looks as if he went 5 rounds in a boxing match with his hands tied behind his back. "I don't have any connections with your family," I say calmly. "At least not until now." He's silent for a beat, staring at me incredulously as his brain processes that I'm not an enemy of the Talaveras. "Then why the fuck are you doing this? Because of that fucking girl?" he asks, his voice hysteric. I lean close, letting him get a good look at my scarred face. If it's not the scars that warn people away, the deadly glint in my eyes usually does the trick. "She fucking wanted me. Not my fault that your girl doesn't want you." I sigh and straighten. I'm not going to bother explaining myself to this prick. He won't understand my obsession, and I don't give a shit enough to want him to. What he doesn't know is that the minute I properly introduce myself to Adeline Riley, she won't be able to think of anyone else. I will devour her from the inside out until every intake of breath will only stoke the inferno I've created inside her. Like oxygen feeding a fire, I will consume every inch of her sweet little body until she will think of nothing else but how to get me deeper inside of her. She'll fear me at first, but that fear will only ignite her, and I will be all too fucking happy to deliver the pain when she gets too close to the flame. Next to me is a tray of utensils lined up neatly. Without looking away, I grab the first tool my hand lands on. A serrated screwdriver, specially made for torturing. The military uses shit like this, unbeknownst to the public. Not that the government would ever willingly tell the country that they torture war criminals often and use pretty fucked up methods to do so. The public isn't ignorant by any means, but they sure as fuck don't know the extent of the depravity of our government either. His eyes widen comically when he catches sight of the screwdriver. I smile. Haven't gotten to use this one yet, I observe, twisting the screwdriver and giving us both a good view of each sharp point. Once this sucker goes in, it's going to hurt even worse taking it out. I can't fucking wait.
Bro, let's talk about this. That girl is not worth you killing me over. Do you realize what my family will do to you? To her?
Did you really think I was going to kill just you? I volley back, quirking a brow to show how unimpressed I am with his warning. His face turns beet red, like the apples my mother used to pluck for me from the orchard as a kid. Always loved those things. Threats spill from his mouth, fueled by rage from his family's untimely fate.
You're doing this because I almost fucked a girl. I didn't even fucking know she was yours.
He bellows, veins popping from his forehead. Not a pretty sight. In response, I stab the screwdriver straight into his stomach. He gapes at me, his mouth parted in shock. A moment passes, and then he's coughing up blood. An array of emotions filter through his eyes. Pretty sure I see the 5 stages of grief in there, too. I bend down and grit out through my teeth. What you and every sad motherfucker that even looks in her direction will learn is no one is safe when it comes to her. I don't care if you only breathed in her direction the wrong way. You will fucking die.
You're fucking crazy.
He chokes out, looking down at the screwdriver sticking out of his abdomen in disbelief. Definitely hit vital organs this time. Slowly, I pull the screwdriver out, the suctioning noise quiet against the backdrop of his scream. The unbridled anger pulsating through me is relentless, unstoppable, and the image of his hand in her pants, kissing her, whispering shit into her ear and making her come. It all fuels the violent storm in my head. I plunge the screwdriver back in when the image flickers of her face. Wanting him back, climaxing for a shit stain like him. I'll have to erase his touch from her, and soon. I rip out the screwdriver and take a deep breath. I have to remind myself she doesn't know me yet. She doesn't understand what true need is. Not yet, but she will. Because she's going to hate the way she needs me. She's going to fight it, rebel against the craving, and attempt to search for something else that makes her feel even a fraction of what I will. She'll never find it, and I won't let her try. Cracking my neck, I take another deep, calming breath. My temper got the best of me. I'm not usually a reactive person, but I've already accepted the fact that my little mouse brings out new feelings in me too. How many women have you hurt, Archie? I ask, licking my lips and circling his body until I disappear from view. It's an intimidation tactic for the weak-minded. Makes them nervous when I vanish behind them for that brief moment. Their minds get away from them as they anticipate what I'm going to do, and then they get a little relief when they see me again, just to repeat the process. It's torture in itself, not knowing if I'm going to strike or when.
Do not call me Archie.
He snaps, seething as I stand behind him. He's tense. I circle back to the front and his shoulders loosen just an inch. You're evading the question, Archie. I point out, deliberately using the name. He snarls at my defiance, but doesn't reply. His mother always called him Archie, up until she died of breast cancer when he was 10 years old. That's when his father lost it and started dealing drugs to make money to pay off all the medical bills and funeral expenses. He raised his children to be cold and ruthless, and Archie here never let anyone call him by his mother's nickname without stabbing them. He stabbed a lot of people for calling him that name, including his best friend Max. His buddy complained about it a time or two in a bar Jay frequents. Don't make me ask again, I warn, my voice lowering to convey just how serious I am. I don't know, he shouts, frustrated. A couple, I guess. The fuck does it matter? I read up on your ex-wife, I say, ignoring the stupid fucking question. You beat her so badly she was barely recognizable when she was taken to the hospital. Evidence indicated that you broke a tequila bottle against her face and then stabbed her with it, not to mention the countless broken bones and bruises. You nearly killed her. Archie sniffs, not the slightest bit of remorse reflecting in his cold eyes. The narcissistic assholes never are. Somehow they twisted in their head that the victim deserved it, and whatever injuries inflicted upon them were their own fault. She was cheating on me, he replies petulantly, pouting like a child that didn't get a birthday cake. Did you cheat on her first? That doesn't matter, he snaps back. She's the wife, and I make the money. If I feel like buying a stripper for a night, that's my goddamn right. All she ever did was sit at home on her lazy ass and spend my money. I nod, accepting his answer for what it is. Would you have hurt Addie? I ask after a pregnant pause. He scoffs. I would have fucked her how I like to fuck. If she ends up with a couple of bruises, so what? Bitches like that shit. They like it rough. Renewed anger punches me in the chest, and it takes all my self-control not to plunge this screwdriver in his eye right then and there. Archie wouldn't know how to have proper rough sex if he was given a fucking manual for it. He hurts women because he enjoys it. He doesn't know how to push women to the edge of pain and pleasure, balancing between the two and making them desperate for more. He just hurts them. By the time he's done, the girl is thoroughly bruised and traumatized, maybe even bleeding, and he's walking away with a satisfied smirk on his face, as if he was the first man to prove a woman orgasming isn't actually a myth. You didn't hurt Addie, I observe, waiting for the answer I know he'll give. He isn't desperate enough yet, scared enough. He's still attempting to put on a false bravado act and die with dignity, but that will change very soon. He smirks. You gotta relax them first. The plans I had for her. He trails off, licking his lips vulgarly. Her cries would have been such a beautiful song. Again, I nod my head in acceptance of the answer. I accept it because it fuels exactly what I have planned for him, and I'm very much going to embody his method for sex. I will enjoy hurting him and making him bleed, and him, he will wish he had never met Adeline Riley.
God damn. Woo! Jesus. Man. That was crazy. My God. Oh, Lordy. Yes, that was chapters 8 and 9 of Haunting Adeline. My God. Woo! That was a juicy little segment right there. My goodness. All right. We are out of time. Thank you guys for being here, for listening and watching. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying Haunting Adeline. It is starting to get good. My goodness, it's starting to get good, man. Hopefully you guys come back for next week when we go over chapters 10 and 11. And without further ado, thank you guys so much. Patreon.com/Am I the Asshole Podcast. $3 a month gets you an exclusive episode every single Friday, as well as being able to send your scenarios into the show. If you're an audio listener, please keep downloading the podcast. I appreciate that so much. Also, rate the podcast. 5 stars is preferable. But if you guys, want to rate it anything else, rate it honestly. It's all good. But it does help the show. Follow us on TikTok as well as Instagram for all the short form content and clips. And that's going to do it for you, boy. I appreciate you guys so much for hanging out with me. And that's it for me today. So I'll see you guys later, and peace.